And when we come back, what is cyberbullying? Dr. Janine Hubbard will let us all know next. And get psyched with Dr. Janine. Welcome back to First Edition. 3 out of 10 Canadian youth say they have been bullied online or cyberbullied. Now, it's a growing problem that can have very serious consequences. Joining me now to continue our conversation on online safety is Dr. Janine Hubbard with this week's Get Psyched. It's great to see you again.
Well, likewise.
So what exactly is cyberbullying?
Well, it can take many forms, but really it's an unwanted social interaction on whether it could be email, it could be texting, it could be social media, it could be comment section on a YouTube page. But really it is an extension of what we think of the in-person bullying. So it often includes things like harassment. It definitely could include things like social exclusion. One of the very frequent ones we see is impersonation, as well as sharing of images without permission or, screen captures, any of those kind of things. That can all go under the category of cyberbullying. And certainly, actually, the stats are sounding quite low because we've also seen since the pandemic, a lot more time spent online, a lot more time spent unattended, that those numbers have really increased.
So what impact can this cyberbullying have? I guess not just on the person on the receiving end, but if it's really serious, what can happen to the bully?
Sure. I mean, it can be misunderstandings, and like a lot of social communications, we work through some of that. But unfortunately, it can definitely have an impact on mental health and physical health. We see it impacting sleep. We see it affecting anxiety, self-esteem. It can lead to increased substance use. And unfortunately, in its more extreme cases, and we've heard of some of these, in the national news, it can lead to certainly depression, but increased risk of suicide, which is why it's so important that we talk about it.
Yes, so what can be done? Talking, I guess, is a good first step.
Yep. Talking, we've talked before about the don't overreact. Be open to if your child or your teen comes to you and says, this has happened, what do I do about it? They often keep it hidden because there's a fear that you're going to take away their phone or you're going to take away the apps. And they really are such a vital piece of interacting. Document. Teaching kids and any of us actually how to screen share, how to capture, how to document, because that piece can be incredibly important down the road. Some basic safety tips like don't share your password, and make sure if you're on an open and accessible device, you don't have your accounts left open. I mean, let's face it, we've all had the I have the best spouse in the world post suddenly appear, which obviously can be harmless, but it's the example of what happens when you leave things unattended. Certainly, looking for resources, reporting when things are happening is going to be really important. Bullyingcanada.ca, Kids Helpline, your parents and school personnel are all really vital sources of support and information and problem solving. And keeping in mind, guys, this isn't just kids, this isn't just teens. As adults, there's an estimate that about 40% of us have encountered some form of cyberbullying at some point. And certainly, again, as the pandemic has proceeded and a lot of people have had much more divisive opinions on different topics, the harassment in particular, and in some cases stalking, has definitely escalated. So being mindful that it's not just the kids.
All right, Dr. Janine Hubbard, we are out of time, but I thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Tony.